Good afternoon. I call this business meeting to order. Today we'll consider two bills, the Blackfeet Water Rights Settlement Act of 2015 and the Pechanga Band of Lucenio Mission Indian Water Rights Settlement Act. These bills settle long-standing water rights issues. Senator Tester and Daines introduced Senate Bill 1125 April 28th. One amendment has been filed. The bill authorizes, ratifies, and confirms the Blackfeet Montana Water Rights Compact. I want to thank Senator Tester and Daines for continuing their efforts to move the legislation. There's a big cost associated with this water settlement. Water is the lifeblood for Indian communities. Both senators are committed to finding offsets. I look forward to continue working to find a path forward. Senator Boxer and Feinstein introduced S. 1983 on August 5th, 2015. That bill would provide the Pechanga Band final closure and water rights, would improve infrastructure to allow the band to fully utilize its water rights. As with most water settlements, costs can be significant. I anticipate the budgetary impacts will remain a work in progress. I will now turn to Senator Tester and Daines for their statements. Vice Chairman Tester, do you have an opening statement on your bill?
I do. Thank you, Chairman Brasso, and I'd like to thank you for taking action on the bills we have in front of us today. Both of these tribal water rights settlement bills have been around for years, and we need to get them passed, not only through this committee, but through the entire Senate. Tribal water rights are vitally important. They provide tribes certainty for healthy drinking water in their communities, and they provide another tool for economic development. These settlements save taxpayer dollars by sparing decades-long litigation, and they provide certainty for all water users, both Indian and non-Indian alike. With regards to the Blackfeet water settlement, first and foremost, I want to thank the tribe for their patience. The Blackfeet tribe saw their water right compact pass the Montana legislature way back in 2009. So they've been waiting too long to get this passed here in D.C. This is the first time we're passing this bill out of committee, so it is a step in the right direction, and I want to commend the Council and Chairman Barnes for continuing to work with us as we find a path to get this bill done. The substitute amendment we're about to vote on reflects the result of continuous negotiations between the tribe and the federal government over the years. The goal is to report something out that can be supported by the tribe, the administration, and Congress. I know our counterparts in the House have laid out a process for tribal water settlements, and I think that our role here in the Senate can be to facilitate that process by having these settlements clear the Senate with support from the stakeholders and include a means to pay for these settlements. I continue to work with any of my colleagues who may have concerns with the bill going forward. I know that some committee members are concerned about the cost, but I want everyone to know that we'll find an offset as we try to move it to the full committee. With respect to the cost of these tribal settlements, I'd like to say that the cost of doing nothing is much higher. It forces tribes and stakeholders into litigation that can drag out for years and decades, and it creates uncertainty for everyone involved. So I look forward to your support on this bill, Mr. Chairman, and working with my colleagues and Senator Daines to move this settlement forward and moving it forward through the entire Senate. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Tester. Senator Daines.
Well, thank you, Chairman Brasso and Vice Chair Tester, for scheduling today's business meeting to consider S. 1125, the Blackfeet Water Rights Settlement Act. And today is a big day. Today marks the first markup in this committee on an Indian water rights settlement in more than 5 years. And I'm proud that we're starting with the Blackfeet Water Rights Settlement Bill. This bill has been introduced 4 times since 2010 and has received hearings before this committee 3 times. The Blackfeet Water Rights Settlement Bill is an important one to settle long negotiated tribal water rights claims and uphold an important agreement entered into by the state of Montana and the Blackfeet tribe to protect the tribe's water rights while also balancing the needs of the state and local community. I completely agree with Senator Tester that we're much better off to invest in this type of infrastructure than to pay a bunch of trial lawyers millions of dollars to settle this in court. The Blackfeet Indian Reservation is located adjacent to Glacier National Park on 1.5 million acres. There are 17,000 enrolled tribal members, about half of whom live on the reservation. And there are 6 significant drainages and several federal water structures that are some of the oldest and most in need of repair in the entire country. Unemployment is well over 50%, and in an area where ranching and farming are the major uses of land on the reservation, water storage and irrigation are of critical importance. Besides the important task of establishing the tribe's water rights, this bill will facilitate real, tangible benefits for the Blackfeet and the surrounding communities. The authorized projects in this bill will improve long dilapidated federal water systems. It'll improve wildlife habitat as well as fish habitat, municipal water supplies, and provide more irrigation for the ranching and farming community. This bill and the amendment represents a water settlement that is critical to the future of the Blackfeet people. It's important to the state of Montana and surrounding communities, and the bottom line, it's long overdue. Now, all these significant benefits do not come without a cost, and I want to make clear to all my colleagues that I'm completely committed to finding offsets for the legislation. We have a provision in the bill as a placeholder to show that we understand legislation must be fiscally responsible, fully offset, to move any legislation forward. I commend the Blackfeet tribe, Chairman Harry Barnes, who have been diligent and patient in seeing the settlement forward. I commend our state for its commitment to the Blackfeet tribe and Indian country in Montana, for Vice Chair Tester and your staff, and Chairman Barrasso for working with me to ensure this bill moves forward. I urge support from my colleagues for the amendment in nature of substitute and for this bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Daines. Other senators want to be heard on this topic? Senator
Mr.
Holt.
Chairman.
Senator McCain.
Mr. Chairman, and Vice Chairman, I appreciate your leadership and commitment to advancing the Indian water settlement. In my home state, Indian tribes assert rights to more than 2.8 million acre-feet of water, an amount equal to roughly half of Arizona's annual allocation of the Colorado River. And so I hope that the committee will work with me as we attempt to address the final two water settlements that are important. I still am unhappy that the senator from Montana blocked legislation that was strictly had to do with Arizona concerning a casino situation. I will not do the same to him.
Senator Hoeven.
Mr. Chairman, at this point, I will have to oppose Senate 1125. While I recognize Montana's authority to enter into compacts with tribes, I'm concerned that we have not been able to sufficiently clarify the possible impacts of this allocation on any future compacts between North Dakota and Montana. I know the attorneys general from North Dakota and Montana have spent considerable time negotiating language that work for both states, but I don't believe that they've found a solution that works for both states. The North Dakota governor and attorney general both believe that the allocation in this bill should not, or should be considered as part of Montana's entire portion of water usage. My hope is that as this bill continues to move forward in the Senate, both states would have time to find language that works for everyone involved. I'm happy to work with Senator Tester and Senator Daines to reach an agreement, but I cannot support the bill as currently written, and therefore will be voting no. Again, I appreciate that Senator Tester and Senator Daines have engaged in those discussions with me. I hope they will continue to, but at this point, based on discussions both with our governor and attorney general, we haven't gotten to something that works yet. I'm hopeful, as I say, as the bill progresses, that we have opportunity to do that. But again, I cannot support it at this point.
Thank you, Senator Hoeven. Any other senators wishing to make a statement on this legislation? If not, Senator Tester is offering one substitute amendment, number RYA 16061. Senator Tester, would you like to make any statement regarding the amendment?
I think enough has been said. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right,
Chair.
unless there's objection, we'll take up the amendment. Motion to consider Senator Tester's amendment. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The amendment passes. Now this is being no further amendments. Is there a motion to approve the bill S 1125 as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
In the opinion of the chair, the bill S 1125 as amended passes. Now we'll take up S 1983, the Pechanga Mission Indians Water Rights Settlement Act. No amendment has been filed, and now move to consider S 1983. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the bill passes. I want to thank the members for getting the business of our committee completed expeditiously. We have a very involved committee hearing. I ask unanimous consent that staff be allowed to make technical and conforming changes. No objections or further business before the committee. The meeting is adjourned.